y'all? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of True Carpet. We are so happy to have you here, allowing us to be in your ears, whether you in your car, in your tub, going for a walk, riding your bike. You know what I'm saying? On the Stairmaster, at the gym.
Okay.
Welcome to the True Carpet. It is I, Simone Loud, aka Mo to the E to the, and on my right hand side is my girl. You know, introduce yourself.
Yeah, to the meat to the.
That is a new thing that she trying out, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, because you know I ain't got no Shakita banana. Yo, I call it like that because I call her Mo to the meat to the. That's how I spell it. But yeah, my name is Yaya. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode.
Yes. We are at episode 10, which we are more than halfway through now of season 3. Wow. Consistency has truly been the key, okay?
Consistency has been good to me and Monie.
Yes, it has. Yeah, thanks. I heard that name in a minute, right?
Right.
So, yes, this is episode 10, and I must say that I am proud of us. That's how I wanna start this off by saying I'm proud of us because with the trials and tribulations that we both have endured while still being in the process of recording this show, it's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't talk about here on the True Carpet. And let me tell you, we still come through every 2 weeks, and we are here to provide. So from personal things, things at work, professional things, technical difficulties, all the above. We still find a way to trudge along and make it through just to make sure that we, aside from the consistency that we want to have, something that we love to do, but also based on the feedback that we get from others of y'all loving that we still provide this platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we start this one off. Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing, girl? How you doing?
I was asking myself that yesterday because for the past last week, I've been asked that question. Actually, since we got back from the next, I've been asked that question, and okay, it's that I've been responding or not okay, but honestly, as of yesterday and today, I don't know. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster ride, and as soon as I think it's getting easier and the fun part is about to kick in, the bad part is over, it's something else. And it's something else. And it's something else.
That's what life does, y'all.
It
takes us on these up and down, topsy-turvy. We be hanging upside down for a while before going on to the next phase of the roller coaster. It's a consistent of up and down. It's not like a smooth little train ride chugging along. It comes with lots of dips and turns and flips. And we have to learn how to adjust, how to continue moving forward, how to look past everything, how to grow through things, how to continue being our best selves in like the most unique ways possible, because nowadays there's no way of telling like what still works and what doesn't sometimes. Kind of like this used to work for me when I used to feel like this, and now it doesn't, as far as looking
how to pull yourself up.
right.
But I just feel like even with since COVID, it's just been a lot of shit happening back to back, a lot of losses, whether it's losing a life, losing a job, losing a relationship, a bond that you have with somebody, losing access to something that you love to do. It's just been so many hits, and they're not missing. And with them being back to back, it's like if somebody hit me with some kind of like drug that I feel numb to everything. Like I'm supposed to be crying because of it. I'm supposed to not go out to the club because this just happened yesterday. Like what the am I doing this right? It's something really funky. But why am I bursting into tears for 5 seconds? Like it's like a Florida rain. Like
sporadic.
Yeah, like
out
we out having a good time out of nowhere. I'm crying like crazy and snap. Okay, I'm smiling again. And it feels odd, but I don't know. That's my response for today.
Yeah, I I've literally been feeling somewhat of the same. Like I've had moments of the past week, like I've been first like like just being like exhausted. Like I've had someone ask me how I feel. I'm like I feel okay, but I feel exhausted, and it's not a matter of being like physically exhausted. For me, it's more so like a mental exhaustion. I need a break from like so many different types of things. Like I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to do anything. I just just want some silence from everything. Like just a long moment of silence. So yeah, I've even like I was meditating consistently and it got to a point where I've been so tired. I haven't been doing a lot of things that I love, like going to the gym, meditating, reading. I haven't even watching my favorite shows. It's just kind of like I've been so tired and out of it that all I really do or was doing showering and going to bed. I think it was just so much, just a lot emotionally that has been coming at me, whether it's personally or externally from other people, what they have been going through professionally and personally. So it's just kind of like, I'm usually that person that people go to talk to who is going through something. It's like, dang, it's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff at the same time. So I was like, what is going on? It's like it's coming from every direction. And as much as I, have been being there for other people, I realized I forgot to be there for myself. And as much as I preach to the choir, about putting yourself first and self-care, I'm like, how did I forget to be there for myself? Like, how did I just throw everything to the wayside that I know was helping me, get through every day, and I just stopped doing it because I was so exhausted. Which is okay, but at the same time, I shouldn't be forgetting about myself. So I was like, I'm looking forward to having a nice break and putting myself back into a like mentally stimulating and just allowing me to remember like what a good me feels like. Because I don't like not feeling like myself. And I'm pretty sure you can relate to what that feels like. Like this isn't me. Like I'm here. Like I went to work this week and I was like, I'm here physically, but mentally I'm somewhere else. Y'all might see me here, but I'm not here.
I just want to put like something in people's ears who are listening, to know that it's okay to feel like you don't know who you are in this moment. Like you said, we feel like we know who we are by our routine and what we do. COVID kind of like when people lost jobs and we lost our norm, it kind of put people in a place to feel like, dang, well, without all these other things going on, and find that. But life is a journey where we're going to continue to go through things and try to figure out who we are, career-wise, friend-wise, like self, all these things. Find coping mechanisms, fall out of those loves and find new love, and that's okay. To take your time to do that, but also finding relations with other people around you and letting them know that you love them, that you care about them, that find somebody in your circle that you trust enough to say, I'm not okay too. Even if you know that that person is going through their own shit in that time period, but like to let that person know, because so many things go on in the world, and they would like, dang, I didn't even know that person was feeling that way or going through that, because we live in a time where our connection with Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and we don't post, most of us, what's going on that's happening in our lives. So it's okay to feel lost, but just hold somebody's hand and don't walk by yourself. You don't have to journey through life by yourself. You don't have to have a response every time somebody asks you how you doing. Sometimes you just don't know. Right? You're trying to process it for yourself. So, I feel like there was something else that I was going to say. I want to say it comes back. I feel like it ran away. Right? It just came out, but that wasn't what I was going to say. It was something else. It comes to me how.
I do. I was sorry. Sometimes you just try to look past that. Like I still got to push forward. I still got things to do. But I'm walking through the school hallway, and the student person, she's like, "Morning, Miss Lau." I was like, "Good morning, baby." She was like, "You look tired." I
said, "Thank you."
I said, "Thank you for noticing." Yes, I am tired. Like I didn't know what else to say. Like she young child, whatever,
Yeah.
kids say whatever's on their mind. But I'm like, dang, I thought I kind of hit that pretty. I did not hide very well that I was tired at all. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, how tired must I look for a child to realize, you don't look like you usually do.
Right.
So that was almost like a realization, like, dang, okay, I do need to, when this day is over, I need to get some rest. And I ended up actually sleeping for 12 hours. I was like, usually I'm like, dang, you don't get enough sleep, it's not healthy. You sleep too much, it's not healthy. But I feel like overall, just from what's been like encompassing like within my body, like mentally and physically, like having that 12 hours, I felt rejuvenated by the time that I woke up. I was like, wow,
yeah,
I needed that rest.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad I didn't have to wake up early to go to work. I'm grateful to be able to sleep in and feel like, okay, this is Simone. this okay, now this is gonna get back to me. I don't feel sore, like my body is like, okay, you needed a rest. You just have to recognize when your body needs that rest, that slow down, that bringing it back to what feels, whatever your normal is,
Yeah.
But that's different for everybody. So I was like, I'm so glad and grateful that I was able to get that rest. Shoot, I slept so good. I'm this game 4. And yeah, I love watching my boys play. I slept through the game. I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm not even able to watch them play the
Y'all, if you're listening, make sure that you get your rest. Make sure you take some time for yourself. Make sure that you do what you need to do. Because I also feel like a lot of us, since outside is opening, that we're rushing to get back outside, or feeling peer pressure. Like you may not want to go to that concert, you may not want to go to this person's party, but because everybody else is trying to rush to quote unquote the norm, they're rushing to do that. But I was listening to another media outlet, and one of the faces on there was sharing that they were going through a rough time and scared about their life because of things that was going on in their own inner thoughts. And it's just common that a lot of us have those thoughts or are feeling the same way. But again, back to when your coworker asks, your parents ask, everybody asks, it's just normal to just let those away, suppress those, because you might feel like you're weird to say I'm not okay or whatever. It's okay to let somebody know, because sometimes that help may be to say, you've not been having the same thoughts.
Right.
So you normalize it and say, okay, it's not just me. How do you get through that? Like even me, I've been having a tough time recently. And I got to a point where in therapy, my sessions were only once a month. But something happened with me, and I was like, I can't wait until the end of the month. My therapist to get an appointment that week. And that helped me. That really helped me. Also, texting Simone helped me, texting another friend, and talking on the phone with that friend helped me as well. So, I don't know. But yeah, it's okay. Whatever it is. It's okay.
Push forward, we love on ourselves, we love on those around us, and we look forward to the next day, a better day, the next a better life. Like I was saying before on last episode, like continually giving yourself things to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's what I told my director.
It really does help. It really does help. So if you have not tried that yet, plan something that you enjoy doing.
Plan a nap.
Right.
Okay. Plan a nap. I took a nap the other day. I was like, I ain't got nothing to do until 4. I'm just gonna try to take a nap. Yeah, I was not. I had text messages and calls. I was like, oh, I must have really been not. But I needed it. Plan a nap.
Yes. Give yourself
a staycation. You ain't gotta have no money. You need your time off or nothing. Stay at home.
Exactly. You bundle up, Netflix and chilling in the
with your snuggie.
Yes, Snuggie. People still have Snuggies. I love my Snuggie.
I know you did.
I had a few different Snuggies.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta find me a Snuggie now.
But I know we usually start off on a bright, and everything, but we're human too. Yep. My clothes are bright, but I'm on a roller coaster right now.
Right, and we are sure so many other people are. So it's
it's okay.
It's okay.
We're human.
That's why we're here. That's why we opened the show like this to let you know it's okay.
Yes.
Right, y'all probably listening to us because you're trying to uplift your day. So we letting you know that it's okay.
It's all right.
It's all right.
All right.
we gonna be all right. Say we gonna be all right. And I'm about to give y'all the rundown for today's episode, season 3, episode 10. All right. First up in our icebreaker segment, we are going to be doing a would you rather question. If you want to know what the question is, it's between this and this other thing. You got to go to the icebreaker segment to find out what it is and what our answers are going to be, because I don't want to, give you too much into like what we're going to be talking about. You got to go head over into that segment. Then right after the icebreaker is 2, 2, 3. We have a fellow CAU alumni. Again, we keep the Clark Atlanta family coming through. The truth carpet. It's the Eric Spencer is coming through 223 with some fire poetry. We cannot wait for you to hear it. Plus the message that he's gonna give. Oh, all right. In the segment, they're heading on over into the CAF. Let's see you again. We have Miss Trisha Roberts, nurse practitioner, great human being, mentor, step coach for us. So can't wait for y'all to hear her story and her journey of being in her medical practice. Definitely love having her in the segment, and y'all are going to love to hear about her journey and what she does now. And then heading on over into dorm stories, we are going to be discussing our experiences in the doctor's office and what we have experienced, whether good, bad, funny. You got to head on over to the dorm stories to find out exactly what we've been through, okay? And then, of course, last but certainly not least, you already know, in the announcement segment, the community news, you got to tune in. So there you can find out what you need to know, whether it's something new, whether it's something you may already know about, but we got things coming through that you need to listen to. So make sure you tune in all the way to the end for official announcements. Yes. All right. And now we're heading on over to the icebreaker. We still don't have the sound machine, so in the meantime, that's what y'all gonna get.
At least we remember her.
Right.
That's cute. Okay, let's do it. Hey y'all, this is our icebreaker segment with Yaya and Monie. We are going to be responding to a would you rather question. And this one is a good one, I think. I'm excited to hear your response. Okay. The question is, would you rather move and live outside of this country for free, all expense paid, food, stay, travel, the gas prices are high. Everything is free, whatever you need. It's in that other country, okay? All right. For the rest of your life. Okay? Or would you rather travel to another planet for 2 G's, which is $2,000?
I'm in another country.
For free.
For free.
All expense paid.
All expense paid.
For you, though.
For me.
Not like if your mom comes, she got paid.
Okay, but like this is the me thing.
Yeah.
Solo thing. Okay, so me or 2K to visit another planet.
Yeah, a planet.
A planet. Okay. I mean,
no, planet. Like Planet Fitness.
Right, okay. I would have to say out of the country. I'm living in another country.
Okay.
Experience another culture, another way of life. Experience something different. Because as far as I know, this country about to burn to the ground anyway. So I'm just like, with everything that's going on here, I feel like I can find peace of mind worthy of my time in another country and still, have a nice career. I can still get a family. Hell, for all I know, my husband might be in another country. Okay, at this point, so I will definitely take the free, all expense paid, living in another country answer, because I don't know what's out there as far as and it takes forever to get to another planet, y'all. Y'all know how long it takes to travel from Earth to go somewhere. It could take years before I actually get to.
No, it's not.
It could take years to get to another planet.
Oh, yeah.
Or a few months, depending on how far out you're trying to go.
They go fast.
They're not saying what planet. Yeah, it's light years, girl. Shoot. What may be a day here might be like 2 months. I don't know. It's something like that. I don't really know science like that, but the time here is not the same time in space. A different amount of time. So by the time I get there, who knows how old people? Right? What's going on?
Come home.
They're not saying which. They're not saying which one. I might get there. Is there oxygen for me? Like, do I gotta keep the?
Well, let's just imagine that it's like everything is covered. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna, be able to breathe, etc. Like you're going on a field trip to another planet, and then you get to come back home.
I don't know. I mean, possibly, but I'd rather go to the other country and live and make a life. I can always come back and do something.
Okay. So it's like an experience thing. Like, would you rather experience visiting, going on a field trip with what was that lady name in the magic school bus? Magic school bus. Would you like to go to? I want to say Miss Fields so bad, but it's not Miss Fields. Whatever
like
her name is. Yeah, Mrs. Fields.
Now one snack.
Would you rather go to that excursion or trip, or would you rather live? But you say you were rather live. So if you're watching us on YouTube or Spotify, I am wearing Marvin or Marsh. What do you think my answer? No, I don't want to go to another planet. I thought I would. Because, like, not a lot of people can say, hey, I went to another country. I mean, not country, sorry, planet.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people can say I went to another country. But not a lot of people can say that they went to another planet and experience and come back and tell their story. But thinking about this question is, I'm coming back to this country after. I'm coming back to the same life that I lived. Not like I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my life because I don't know what it would be like to have more or less. But nah, I ain't paying $2,000 just to go on a field trip and then come. I mean, that's a beautiful experience, though. I don't know, but once I read out loud, free, like room, board, everything, like free. I'll take that. Ain't no 99. It's just free. Free. It's for me. Sweet tea. Okay, I'm gonna take that. What country would you go to?
That part I don't know. I don't know where I would want to like. I feel like I would want to visit a few different places first. And decide whether or not I want to live there.
If somebody walked in the door right now and said, Mommy, you want a free trip to live in another country for the rest of your life for free, but you got to answer in 30 seconds. God,
30 seconds? Yeah. Yo, I would not have an answer.
Your mouth would just be frozen. Like
yes, I would be in shock. Like all I get is 30. I'm too indecisive to figure out something in 30 seconds. I'm too indecisive to think in 30 seconds.
Something will blurt out. Right?
I would need to do my research. I would probably just say Africa, but then I need to pick. That's what I'm saying. I need to pick a place in Africa that I want to go to. So I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. I would need some time to think about it. Like maybe I should do my research just in case somebody do come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where would I want to live? I feel like I need to do more. I honestly need to do more traveling too, even
experience it to know where you want to live.
Like I can definitely see myself moving here. And I know people that have moved to Thailand, Beijing. They love it.
What's South Beijing? I don't know either. I choose the same response. But I don't know. Like I hear about these places, but what is it like to actually? It's different visiting a place and then actually living there.
Right.
Like, what would it be to be a citizen in Nigeria, or Kenya, or Japan, or I'm thinking continents to Asia, but well, pick a country and like, what the heck?
Pick a country and explore the country and figure out where you want to stay in the country.
Right. Yeah. I don't think what I would blurt out. I'll probably say Dubai or Egypt. That's probably what will come out of my mouth.
Right, Egypt. Okay, Egypt. Either way, I'm still gonna be on the plane and traveling to other places because I'm not sure how often anybody was going to visit me outside of the country.
Yeah, that's why I thought I was gonna say the planet one because I was like, my family, they gonna be like, see when you come back home, ain't nobody gonna travel to visit me in another country, especially the way these prices set up right now. Especially a lot of people, speaking of babies, they got babies to travel with too. They gonna be like, yeah, you come home, but let us know when you come back to America.
I'm like, you about to be on the this Google.
We're gonna be on FaceTime. Hello. I'm coming back to know America.
Dude, y'all be lucky if you saw me once a year. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It depends on how good my life is in this other country.
Right.
But I still love y'all. Forever, ever, forever, forever.
Well, that's our response to our icebreaker. I think that was a good question.
Right, we want to know y'all answers too, so make sure you answer down below if you're on YouTube and if you're on Spotify. We put the question down there as well, and you can answer on Spotify.
Yes, yeah. That's it. For our
Let us
icebreaker
know.
segment. Shh.
We are heading on over into
We should get more vodkas. All right, sorry, my bad.
We are heading on over into Suite 223.
We are now in Suite 223, our poetry segment with a special guest, Eric Simpson, who also went to the illustrious Clark Atlanta University. I mean, talent is talent. We got talent at the AUC, you know, CAU. It is what it is. Well, welcome to our podcast, Eric.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So we thought about having Eric on our podcast because just like Simone and I would share poetry, we will also share poems with Eric, whether it was in the dorm room or tagging each other on Facebook in the notes section for our poems. So we couldn't not have Eric on our podcast. So it's a pleasure to have you here. We're excited to hear your piece that you're going to share today with us. So whenever you're ready, take the mic away.
Thank you. It's crazy that you said Facebook because the poem that I had today was courtesy of Facebook Memories. So it's an untitled piece. My stepmother wrote a book called Expressly Speaking. And in the book, there was a section for you to write reflections of, from whatever excerpt or poem that she had in there. And this is a love poem dedicated to my wife. We loved each other in thought, word, and deed, collected natural water from our tears to water deeply planted seed from our grandmother's silent prayers. We loved each other carefully enough to not singe a single hair in the fiery passion of our lifelong journey. Loved each other so deep, even my bones got chills from a single whisper, body quivers. Crossing Jordan River to a place we were free from ourselves and came as one. We've been best in every test, found new comfort in her breast. We loved each other as far as the east was from west. Heart songs filling the cosmos, even the stars twinkled to our melody. Love was our phenomenon to infinity and beyond.
Come on, Jimmy Neutron. Yeah. That was sweet. That makes me want somebody to write a poem about me.
Make you love, you know what I'm saying?
Make you want to feel love. Make you want to have somebody lay down on my breast.
Yeah. That's that poem. That's it. Oh my goodness. My allergies are killing me. Forgive me, y'all.
Hello.
No, it's okay. All over, okay?
I popped the Zyrtec this morning.
The pollen is hot.
Yeah, still crazy. That's why my pants green because of pollen. I love your piece, Eric. Like I said, it did make me feel like, dang, I'm gonna gotta write a poem about me. So we already know the inspiration. We assume it's your wife, but tell us about your writing style. Tell us about like this poem in specific. Like when did it come about? When it was your wife, or when she was your group thing?
We were definitely deep into marriage. Let me see. Let me check the mark date. 2019. So we were about 5 years in already. Going on 6 years of marriage. So we've been through a lot of stuff, keeping it 100. First couple of years were rough. And then we got it together and then found the beauty and the love. And so a lot of that was kind of entangled in what I put in here. Is how we loved each other deep through the part of wanting to leave and then loving each other to stay, loving each other to find a reason to remember why we chose each other. And so that was a little bit of what was in here, but just trying to think about other things and trying to add different things that'll make people go, I've never really considered myself one of those poets that can get up on Def Poetry Jam and spit something from memory. However, as a child and as a youth, poetry was one of my coping mechanisms that I learned as an adult that really helped me channel my anger, channel frustration, channel all of that negative energy into a creative world. Obviously, music was one of the other things, but poetry was one of those silent things that I had done in tandem with utilizing music. And so when I write, sometimes you might hear a piece from a popular song that I take from a lyric from one of my favorite artists and throw it on in there. And as far as a poetry style, I don't even know if I have a style. I would just say a freestyle. I freestyle what comes to mind, and I really try to put it in there where it just sounds good. It makes you feel good. And as someone whose grandmother was an English teacher, trying to use a lot of different words, you know, playing Scrabble with her, you had to read the dictionary. And so, you know, trying to look up different synonyms, different words to make my point seem a little bit more deeper than what it genuinely truly is. And so mainly a freestyle artist, someone who just writes what I think, and then sometimes I'll go back and then I'll try to beef it up if I could. But hey, I love it. I love it. In unison. So yeah, that's pretty much my style. And the inspiration obviously was from the book that my stepmother, my mother-in-law wrote. But then thinking about what she wrote and how that applies to me, and then what that means for my life, what that means for my marriage. Because you know, some of the things that were deep, like, hold on, let me reference some stuff. We collected natural water from our tears to water deeply painted seed from our grandmother's silent prayers. Like, we cried a lot, you know. We had some battles, you know, and we weren't just fighting each other. We had some spiritual battles. We in spiritual warfare. We had battles with other people. We had issues just in life in general. You know, I think we can all agree that in life you're gonna go through some ish. And you know, we collected those tears and we remember whose backs we stand on. We remember whose shoulders we standing on. And so I remember those prayers that my grandmother prayed, silent and both spoken. And so we used our pain to help blossom or help grow something that was prayed about years before we were even born. Kind of a play on that. You were beautifully and wonderfully made in the womb. And so taking the pain that we experience in here and really helping that beautifully and wonderfully made statement come to life. I don't even know if that's what I meant, but that's how I take it now. And so really just trying to do something. And a lot of times I write short excerpts. I'm not one of those folks that'll write you a 10-minute poem. I really just come in, get my point across, and then I'm better, because it's always just a hobby, coping skill in and out. And so I'm gonna stop rambling.
No, I love it. I love that you use someone else's book to be inspired and write this piece, because that's how a lot of my poems come about as well. I'll go to a show, I'll watch somebody's video and sharing a poem, or someone will randomly come and say, just listen to this real quick, I just wrote this, and then it'll make me wanna, not because I'm like, oh, she wrote one, so I want, but it's like, it really is inspiring, because it gets your mind going, and that's the way that I too express myself. I don't know if it's because Eric's my cousin, y'all. We got the same kind of thing, but you know, like, it is like a way to let things out, because I do find too that when I'm expressing myself, it may be my conscious, but when I'm talking, I feel like I'm rambling, I'm talking in circles. But when I write down what I'm trying to express, especially in a poetic way, it comes out effortlessly, in my opinion. Even though it scratches on paper, but once it's done, it's done, and it's nice. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think it's something about poetry that I think is beautiful. It allows you to be vulnerable in ways that you may not be able to be otherwise. Like, as far as like how you want to express or say something to someone, and not really sure of how you want to actually, you know, get out what you really want to say, and being able to take your time and say something in a poetic way, whether it's for you or for someone else. You know, it's just a matter of how you decide to, you know, use your words, you know, in a very specific way, you know, but using those analogies. I mean, I'll pull out a thesaurus every once in a while, like, how can I say this differently? You know?
Yes.
Like, synonym for this, what rhymes with this?
Right, to get that flow right. But at the same time, as creative as you're trying to make it, it still takes like that piece of you that allows you to be vulnerable enough to even want to share, you know, what is on your heart. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was beautiful. I love your people that like, dang, I want to be in love, you know,
Yes.
and really truly share like how I feel about, you know, a person in our journey and how we navigate through what we go through.
You could be
know,
on the
how we
east
make
or the west. I still feel close to you. I cry tears that forms the ocean or the river, like the Jordan.
it.
Yeah, I still love you, girl. I love you too, boo. Yeah, I like that too. I have before I have because I have like a personal question that I want to ask, and I've been wanting to ask a married couple for a long time, but I never did. But do you have a question that you want to ask?
I'll let you go.
Okay, so my question is, a lot of times people say, well, you know, Marcus Houston, marriage don't change nothing but your name. And then a lot of people say too that marriage is just a piece of paper. But this is the second conversation that I'm having this week with somebody who's married, who's saying, you know, you see things and you think it's all beautiful. It's not all perfect, but it is beautiful. Having somebody having a companion being married is not just paper, it's more than that. But I never get the what's more than that. So if you're talking, Eric, to a single person and they're like, I've been hearing about marriage, but I'm not really with it. Like, what would you tell them? What's the beautiful thing about marriage? Why should they get married opposed to just staying boyfriend girlfriend?
That's a good question. One thing that you said, and it's something that I always iterate, is that when people look at a couple and they be like, oh, they goals, I want to be like them, they goals. You don't know what's happening behind closed doors. And I'm a fan of saying everything that glitters ain't gold. You know, on the outside, they look real good as a couple. The husband, he's fine, he looking good, he got his cologne, and the wife is decked down with her red bottoms looking, you know, looking like a snack. But just because they look that fine doesn't mean that their relational aspect of their relationship is popping. They may have communication issues. Somebody might be abusive, whether emotionally, physically, psychologically, or even financially. There may be so many different issues that you can't see that's happening in marriage. And so I say that to any and everyone, be careful who and what you say are goals, because it takes a lot of work. And that's been one of the things that I've always said to people when they say that about my marriage. I'm like, can I curse? Or you know, nigga, if you knew all the stuff that we went through just to get here, you probably wouldn't sign up for it. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is beautiful. You know, there is an opportunity to really cherish someone beyond just, this is my girl. You know, there is an opportunity to really cherish someone where you can establish a family with your name, you know, establish a family however you want it. Keeping it real, there is a legality aspect of it when you get married, where it is a piece of paper, but everything that's yours is hers and everything that's hers is yours. And if you so choose to separate, then you got your own set of problems that you're going to have to deal with when that time comes. But it's beautiful because there's an opportunity to rediscover what love truly is. Let me ask you a question. From the moment you started writing poetry to the moment now, how has poetry evolved, or has poetry evolved to you?
I think my poems have become stronger. It's had some times where I feel like I don't want to write at all, and then Simone is there to encourage me, or to encourage me or remind me of what my love used to be, what my joy was. But when I compare how my poems were and how they are now, it's like, wow, there's some growth. And I thought these were bomb when I wrote them before, but the evolution is crazy. So I would say, yeah, it's my love has become stronger. And now I'm creating like a network around me, like, oh, I love your poems too. Like, let's share. So,
yeah, that pen hit different over time, because you go through so many different things, trials and tribulations. Like what I was going through then at 19, what I was going through at 29, what I'm going through now, like it may be something similar, but the vibe and the cadence of how I write, it's all different. Like I can tell I was 19 when I wrote this.
Yeah.
I can tell I'm a grown ass woman when I wrote this. So it's
the maturity.
Right, the maturity of the writing and how it grew over time, but still being able to tell the story that somebody can relate to, you know.
And everything you have said affirms why marriage is beautiful. Because when you first come into a marriage, it's one thing. You have your preconceived notions, your preconceived expectations. You want your wife to be this person that you thought up in your mind 25 years ago. You want your man to be this person that you dreamt up since you were a little girl. And all of that's being knocked down.
Yeah.
And so it evolves. You have an opportunity to genuinely appreciate the person for who they truly are, to genuinely appreciate the person for how their situations and circumstances change them over time. And then how you have that influence to do so, both positively and negatively. And the beauty of it, the same way we've been with poetry, is that you get to rediscover your love for it all over again, over and over and over and over again. And so that's why marriage is beautiful. Granted, you can do all of this while being boyfriend and girlfriend, but nothing is stopping them from being like, I'm sick of you, I'm tired of you, I'm out. There's nothing that's stopping you from doing that. In fact, marriage has the same thing, but it's a whole lot deeper and complicated in order to leave. I say, if you really want something that's beautiful, that can really take you on a cyclical type of love, where you can isolate yourself in a myriad of different ways to really understand love and the cycle of love and rediscovering what that truly is, marry that person. And that's one of the things that I've been able to do, is to rediscover. You know, you got your cycle. I love you, I like you, I don't like you, I kind of like you, I love you again. You know, and that's the phase. And that's the phase in friendships. You got, I'm sure as best friends, y'all have had that phase, you know, and you get to rediscover why that's your best friend. And marriage has the same foundational components as to why in love it is so important.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Yes.
That's another poem, y'all.
With the gems?
Yeah.
Okay, I love when gems drops.
I love that so much.
Hey, I messed up a lot to get here, okay?
Come on, I hear it. That was dope. That was the dope response. I like how you had us respond too, because I got to feel it when you was answering. So I appreciate that so much.
No problem. I've been asked that question, like, how y'all been able to stay married? There ain't no secret, you know. I would like Pokemon. I choose you.
Over and over again.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing. It's been a minute, but I'm glad you were able to make the time, you know, family man over there, you know. Finding the time to come through to sit in on True Carpet in our 223 segments. But before we let you go, can you please let the people know where they can find you?
You can find me in it's like nah. You can find me on Facebook, Eric Simpson, I think. You can find me on Instagram, EricD88. Obviously, if you want to find me, or if you can't find me, you can ask these two beautiful ladies where I'm at, and they can direct you to where I am, where my socials are. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yes, and he's also a musician, guys, too. So beautiful music, all that too. So definitely check him out. Like Monie said, it was a pleasure having you, Eric, and we will see you soon.
Yes.
All right, I'll be up there to see y'all one of these days.
Yes.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another segment of Hot Topics. We are in the caf, we are chilling, we are ready, we are thirsty for the deets on our next guest, Miss Trisha Roberts, another fellow CAU alumni from the illustrious. We trying to tell y'all, we have some greats coming out of the CAU, okay? So what, fellow sister, step coach, mentor, like out here doing big things in the world. She is a women's health NP and certified nurse. She has lots of letters behind that beautiful name, but we are going to let her go into detail of what she does and why she loves what she do. Yes. So without further ado, Ms. Trisha Roberts, let the people know who you are.
Hey y'all. I just want to say y'all look so cute. So pretty.
Yes,
and I'm so proud of you too. Like just your introduction and all, I'm like, wow, you were born for this. I love it. Well, I'm Trisha Roberts. I am a certified nurse midwife. I work for the Morehouse School of Medicine, and I primarily take care of my patients here in Atlanta. I also am a women's health nurse practitioner. and I am currently living my dreams, taking care of women across the whole state of Georgia.
Come on, take care of women.
Yeah.
Love it to hear
Living my
it.
dream.
Right.
That's
Doing
so
what you
beautiful.
want
Makes
to
my
do.
heart go like,
Right. You know, some people just work so hard to get to where they want to be, and now they living it out and seeing it
yes.
in
Living my
fruition.
life like so.
Damn.
I love that.
It's true. It's
I
true.
remember
You
when
know.
we used to be on Facebook saying we wanted to have alphabets behind our name, and now yes, Trisha.
I know. You
Yeah,
know.
G.
I know. And humbly, I just say, I'm a midwife. That's, I usually when I introduce myself, I forget letters all the time, and 'cause at the end of the day, I'm just here to serve. So people ask me, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a midwife." That's
That's
it.
so
It's
dope.
usually
Yeah.
That's dope.
yeah.
Okay, so you shared that you are a midwife. What does that look like? What's your role in it?
So
If
my
you may not know
role.
what a midwife
Oh
is.
yeah. So midwives are primarily women and men because they are male midwives. They're very, very small percentage, but they are there. And we primarily take care of women only. So we do everything from adolescence to menopause, your primary health care, all of your obstetric care. We deliver babies. We do GYN care, so all of your family planning needs like birth controls, IUDs, Nexplanons, just a regular pap smear if you need a little bit more assistance in areas like trying to form and have a family. We can do that. We can help you get to the right people. And then we do a little bit of newborn care in some states too. So, but all things woman from the time they're adolescents to the time they are in full menopause. We do.
See, and I had no idea that that's what midwives do from
Pull
point
the
A
baby
all the
out.
way to point Z. Right.
Pull the baby out.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Besides delivering babies, we see it all. And if there's something that's a little bit more intense that we can't manage, then we'll go ahead and refer you to a board certified gynecologist and they will take it from there.
Is that weird for you to check a woman? Like you said, you do the pap smear and all that. Like, is that? Because I know when I go get checked, I be hiding my panties under my clothes. Like, I know you got panties too, but tuck that away.
Right.
No,
It's not you've done it and gone. I'll be
Right,
like, I'm
like-
not ready. Like, these just
yeah.
I gotta make sure I got my bikini wax going on. Like,
Right.
somebody
You
got looked
know,
at me.
I have patients all the time. I mean, you get immune after a while. You see, hundreds of different women's bodies, and you always maintain a level of respect and understanding that everyone's body is different, everyone's odor is different. Everyone's culture is different. Some people don't shave at all. Some people shave, and so I try to let women understand that. Look, well, I'm not here to take you on a 5-star date. You do not need to be shy with me. It's okay. Like women are very apologetic with their bodies. Like, oh no, I didn't shave. And I'm like, so what? You're here to take care of yourself. Like, I don't care about that. And so I think it's funny when I go to get my pap smear, I do everything my patients do. I'm like, oh, I gotta go get a wax. Like, and I'm like, oh, it's just different being a patient. But your provider does not care. They're more so concerned, like, okay, if there is an odor, why do we have an odor? What's going on? Like, we're more so concerned, like, about your health and well-being. We don't care about that stuff, but it's normal too, because it's your private area. You want to, but it's fine.
Wow. So we want to know what inspired you to choose to be a woman's health NP and certified nurse.
So I always tell everyone that this is a career that chose me. Like I never woke up like from a child saying, I want to be a midwife, I want to be an NP. Like that was never the path. and that's what I love about it is because I know that it was specifically chosen for me. Like this was destiny. And so I originally, when I went to school, I did a biology degree. So I did my bachelor's in biology, and I was originally planning on going to school for pre-med. and then to go on and do sports medicine, which is like total opposite of women's health. And as I started to, get more and more into science and biology, I got actually really, really interested in public health because there's like a huge HIV problem in Atlanta. And I was like, what is going on? I'm like, I couldn't understand how there were so many new cases of HIV and all these new STDs that were becoming, hard to treat. And people like weren't being educated about it. Like they were like actively choosing to make decisions that were harmful. And I couldn't understand that process. And so I really, really got into public health and really wanted to get into that field. And I remember I just graduated out of school and I was applying to I probably applied to maybe 20 public health programs, just graduating out of a bachelor's program. And I got denied from every single one. And I was like, what is going on? And I just could not understand, why wouldn't anyone want to take me into this program? And everyone would say the same thing. Well, we're looking for people who have more experience. And that's really frustrating when you come out of school, you spend all of those years, writing papers and doing exams for people to say you need more experience. And you're like, well, I was in school for 4 years, like I was told to do. How could I get this experience? And so I remember telling my mom, I was like super frustrated. I was just like, I just want to take care of women. I want women to know that they can be educated on their health and, there's other ways to do things and know that they have access to healthcare. And my mom was like, well, that sounds like nursing. And I was like, I don't want to be a nurse. My mom's a nurse. My mom's a nurse. My mom's been a nurse for, she's retired now for at least 30, 40 years. And so I was like, I'm not going to be a nurse. Absolutely not. And then I was like, she's like, I'm not telling you to be a nurse, but that sounds like what you want to do. And so, because that's exact, and I didn't know. So I started looking up nursing, what do nurses do? And, what our job description entails and how do we reach patients. And I was like, oh my God, this do sound like nursing. And so I applied to a nursing program and got in right away. And as I was doing all of my clinical rotations, when I got to my women's health one, that's the one that sparked the fire in me. I just loved it. I remember my instructor threw me in a room, was a delivery going on. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, the baby was coming out and it was just I was like stars in my eyes. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is what I want to do. And so since then, when I graduated, I did a little med surge, which is the nitty gritty of things. And I'm glad I did it because I saw so much. I saw, I took care of men, I took care of women, I took care of kids. And it was always the women's health that just kept on, pulling at my heart. And so when I went to labor and delivery, I was like, yeah, this is it. So it was a journey to get there, but I'm glad it took me there because I saw all parts of the lifespan and I understand it from old to young. And this was the one that always grabbed my heart. I knew I had to do something in women's health.
That's dope. And it's crazy. I remember it being hurtful. And I know definitely it hits the core to be denied from something that you're trying to do.
Right.
God had a plan for you that you didn't
Always.
see for yourself. And it's also crazy how one of the closest persons in your life is doing his profession and we don't know exactly what that entails. And it's oh no, you look down to that. You have your hopes up because you saw something else, but it allowed you to do exactly what you're doing, which is something that you love.
Right. There's always this misconception that nurses, all we do is change bedpans and, and make up beds. And that was probably in the 50s and the 60s. I mean, your nurses are the ones, and now gladly it's been seen now with the pandemic that, they're the ones on the front line. They're the ones who's making the calls to the doctors and saying, hey, your patient's turning blue. You need to come up here. And that is what I realized, nursing we don't get enough credit for what we do. There's so many times I've had to call a code blue or call someone and say, hey, I need you to come look at this patient. That intuition that you have is undeniable, And so I'm glad I took this route that I got here. And now I can look at my patients and say, something's not right, And so I love it here.
The route that you never even knew what you were going to take. I think stories like that are so beautiful because you have in your mind, I'm going here.
Yeah.
I see myself
right.
this and nothing's gonna stop
Right.
you from getting it here. But then the universe be like, no, hold on,
Mhm.
I'm taking you this way.
I'm gonna take it this way.
You're supposed to go this way. Let me just show you what's on this path for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
do this.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems like you kind of fall into something that you never even knew that you would love
Right.
to do. So.
It's so frustrating because you think like, when you think you're doing the right thing, you're like, I went to school, like I did all the work, I graduated, like where's my $1 million job? Like what's going on? Because they really, that's the concept, that's the misconception that you have when you're in school. Like they grow you up to think that once you have this degree that, you know, everything else after that should flow to you like milk and honey, and it does not.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a harsh reality a lot of students have to learn when they come out of school, that they thought they were working hard and there was someone else who was working even harder. Like someone else was even going to school and working at the internship and doing the job and making the connections at the other places, that when they come out, they have something waiting from them. And I couldn't really understand like what experience. And then once I did a master's degree, then I was like, okay, I get it. I get why you want a little bit more experience, because it's a whole different field. It's a whole, like, a master's education is just like it really will change how, especially as an adult, it changes how you think and how you process data and information and things like that. So life lessons.
I want to add to the part of what you're saying that people don't give nurses enough credit, because all the hospitalizations that I went through, who's the first person I texted aside from my mom? Trisha. Like, Trisha, they trying to give me this medication. What is this? Oh no, tell them to give you this. Or like, they're so educated from the medication to how long I'm supposed to stay in the hospital to how often they're supposed to check on me. It's just so much, and like credit needs to be given to do for sure. So,
absolutely.
I've definitely seen the nurses more time than I saw the doctor.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, we're there with you, 12-hour shifts. Like there's no gap in between. There's no waiting for us to come. We're always there, always documenting, always watching. And, we have to know all of those medications that we give you, especially if they interact with one another. Like, and I think people don't realize how much education like nurses have in pharmacology, in, pathophysiology. We know everything that's happening inside of your body and how it's reacting to each other. So, I always say, if anyone's going to save you, it's your nurse. Be nice to your nurses.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So what's the most difficult thing, the most trying part of your career?
I think the hardest part would be when you have patients that don't have a step up. Like they're coming in and they don't have support. They don't have the finances to get the things that they need. They don't have transportation to get to their, appointments. And it's like you're constantly trying to get people in line to help. So you need to get the social workers involved. You need to get financial involved. And so you're pulling so many different strings just to make sure that one person can get the care that they need. And so there are gaps in the healthcare system that people kind of just fall, on the wayside. And then they come in and you realize, well, this person hasn't been seen for 3 months and their blood pressures are through the roof. And so like you're constantly trying to play catch up. I think that women, especially pregnant women, Black pregnant women, are, of course, we're like the highest group at risk for maternal death. I think we need way more providers. We need way more appointment times, way more education, longer appointment times. I think that's my biggest struggle, is that they give you 20 minutes to see someone. And it's like, it's impossible to educate someone on their blood pressure, their weight, the type of foods they eat, what to expect next in pregnancy in 20 minutes. It's just not possible. And so I think timing is the biggest problem.
I didn't even know you only got 20 minutes.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I have a baby carrier,
Yeah.
That's like 20 minutes. That doesn't sound. That's definitely not.
Right. And so they give you these appointment slots and you try to see everyone on time, and that's hard because obviously your patients, their appointment might be 8:20. They have a 20-minute grace period and they get there at 8:20, but the next one starts at 8:40, and that person, so everyone gets kind of bumped down. And for me, like, sometimes I'm trying to work efficiently, but also, effectively at the same time, where I can give you all that you need and still be able to get to the next person on time. And so you have to pick and choose. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what, everyone's gonna have to wait. And I'm okay with that if I know that at the end of the day you walked out with what you needed. And so sometimes you're a little just overworked, and tired. But as long as I can go to sleep at night, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like, as long as I know I gave you exactly what you needed today.
Yeah.
So
That's what's up. I would prefer that opposed to what I find myself doing. Sometimes I don't come with a list of questions that I want to ask the provider or
yeah.
anything. I'll just like whatever I'm thinking in that room, then I'll ask. I catch myself a lot of times snapping my fingers like, dang, I should have asked this or that.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
go to Dr. Google and ask him, but we all know that the stuff on there is gonna work up your brain because it's not the
Right.
information.
Right.
You're diagnosing yourself with stuff that's not even connected to
Right.
what
Probably
you
not even
feel.
relevant to what you
Right. So
Dr. Google will make you feel like you're about to die.
yes, my kneecap about to fall off. Like, I have an earache. Like this. Yeah, it's a lot. But I didn't know, just like Simone, that there's a time limit on how long
Yeah.
to see the doctor for, and that makes sense, a whole lot of sense. But I do wish that there were more people who would educate us, even with your prescribing. Like, I'm gonna give you Sacalex and Cocodex or whatever the medication. And, like, some people we're not comfortable with asking because we're like, oh well, the doctor said they're gonna give us
Right.
this, but we don't ask. Well, what is that for? You're giving two medications that's doing the same thing. I don't need to pay for both of them. Which one do I really need?
Right. Yeah, like, I just feel like patients, they come in with, they just know they're pregnant. They don't understand, like, that there's a baby growing in your uterus, and that, it's pulling nutrients from this part of your body, and that this is what you should expect. And all of these, they don't really understand the physiological things that's happening inside them. And so when you're educated on those things from early, you know what to expect. So little things, you won't come to the emergency room for, like a little bit of like leg pain or back pain that went away, but I had it 2 days ago, so I'm here. It's like, but you would know that, like, this is probably a part of the physiological part of pregnancy, and I could see my provider for this, on my regular, appointment. So some people come to the emergency room with things that aren't even emergency problems. So what that does now is it backs up the emergency room with people who have real issues that need to be fixed right now versus later. And so we would have these talks early on what to expect and what you're feeling, what's going on now. They were like, oh, this is normal. Like, I don't even need to come up here for this. All things I think that should start early, even before pregnancy. I think lots of women don't even know their anatomy. Like, I've had patients who think that they like, how many holes I got down there? It's just one, right? And I'm like, why don't you know this? I'm like, like little things like that. Like, I think that needs to start from a school-based level, like learning our bodies, knowing that we need pap smears, we need them every 3 years and then every 5, the things that we're looking for, when you need to go get tested for STDs, like those basic, education that our country doesn't even provide us, you know what I mean? And so it's a whole nother segment there, So I think with that, if we were to start there, then we would be so much better off,
I agree, and it doesn't even we think about schools too, but even in the household, because
Absolutely.
When I was a teen before going to school, I would hear my friends and family members like around my age but older, if that makes sense, like age range, talking about going to a gynecologist or getting a pap smear, and I'm like, what's that? So I asked my mom if I could go, and she said, oh no, you don't need to do that until you're not having sex. That was her response. But you're shaking your head, that's not correct. So, I agree that as a child, whatever grade seems appropriate, we should learn about these things. Because when I think back, all we learned was don't have sex. Right. This is what a time
right. Yes.
Like if you have sex without a condom, you can get these things happening to your body.
Right.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like we have guidelines that we start. So you'll start your pap smear at age 21 now. Before they were doing it like beforehand. And then when you get to 30, you do it every 5 years. But we're testing for more things now. And so even at home, like when you start having even menses, like when girls start menstruating, like they're just most girls they just give them a pack of pads and that's it. They don't tell them that okay, at this point now you are liable to get pregnant now, you know? So I've had patients from ages, 14 and they didn't really understand the process of how having sex can get you pregnant. And so little conversations like that are big things that need to happen a lot earlier than we expect.
So we talked about something that may have been tough for you to see, but what's something that's rewarding in your career?
People really think that seeing the babies born are like rewarding for me. And like they're so cute when they come out. But honest to God, like once they come out, I probably never see them again. Like they like go off to mom and then they go to postpartum and then they come back like a couple weeks later. So I never really get to, so it's really nice when I see the baby like a couple months after. I'm like, oh my God, like I did this. Like, you did all the work. I was just here to assist. But I think honestly, I think what I'm learning now is the thing that I'm most rewarded about is my older patients. My patients who are like 81 years old who come in and they just have like the same vaginal issues that you would have like when you were in your 20s. Like they'll have, the itchies or the scratchies. And I'm like, they just want someone to talk to and be like, hey, this has been going on. Like, your vagina doesn't go away when you're 80 years old. You know what I mean? And so like having them come to me and say, this is what's going on. I'm concerned about this. But then they start talking about their life. And that's my favorite part. Like when I start asking their history, like how many kids do you have? And, are you working? What's going on? And they start going into their life story. And they're the ones I give the most time because I feel like they just need someone to talk to. And when they leave, they're always like, I'm so glad I had you, Miss Roberts. You just talked to me for so long. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate you telling me your story because just because you're older now and you're not of childbearing age doesn't mean that you're not as important as someone who was coming in here who was pregnant. And so that's my most rewarding, part of the job is knowing that my patients walked away and someone listened to them. And so they might make an appointment to come back for something crazy like an ear raid just so they can talk to me. But I'll give them that 20 minutes.
For that check-in.
Yeah.
How you been?
How you been? But yeah, the babies are cool. It's nice to see them like come earthside. But I think delivering babies is the most stressful thing that I've done because you're always constantly in like a mode of, okay, is everything okay? Is mom okay? Like, is baby, like you're always thinking like, what's next? What's next? And I usually hold my breath until they come out and cry. Like, and then I'm like, okay.
Also stressful.
You can only imagine though, like there's so many things happening at one time that you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it could go.
It's a lot that can go wrong. Cause I always say at the end of the day, like having a baby is like having one foot in the grave. Like it's dangerous, and people don't know that. People don't really realize that, especially for African American women. Like, and so I'm always like on edge in a way where even though I look calm and I'm, that's just me truthfully speaking on the truth carpet. Like I look calm and I look like I'm well in control of what's going on because I am. But in my mind, I'm just like, okay, like what's next? Okay, baby looks okay. Baby doesn't look okay. Like, what are we gonna do next? And delivering babies is a very thin line of either you making decisions too early or too late. And so it's constantly having to make the decision at the right time is something that always is on my mind. And for the most part, I've always had good outcomes, but you just always have that in your mind. And this is someone's life, 2 lives at stake.
Yeah.
And so you're always just a little bit more on edge, but I still love it. I still wouldn't trade it in for the world, but there's some days where I don't sleep. You know.
Okay, so now we want to ask a personal. Well, I guess all the questions were personal,
Yeah.
but speaking more about skin color, I guess. What kind of reactions do you get? Well, I guess skin color and ageism too. I'm thinking about those
Yeah.
things. What kind of reactions do you get when you pull a curtain open, or you
Yeah.
bust through the door, and it's like, it's me. I'm young. I'm black. I'm beautiful. Like, do you get like kind of like weird looks at you?
You know, it's all been very positive. Um, Absolutely. And that's probably because I do work primarily for an African American institution in an urban population. And so I think I do get more ageism than colorism because when I walk in, they're like, how old are you?
Just be my baby.
Yeah, especially my older patients. Like my older patients, they either like they're once they meet me, I can tell their demeanor is like, who's this young, hussy trying to take care of me. And then by the time I sit down and like talk with them and get to know them, they're like, you single, baby? I got a grandson. And so I think once they realize that knowledge and age, has no correlation in how you can do your job, they kind of relax and like, you know what, yeah, she know what she's talking about. And that's more rewarding for me because I'm like, yeah, I'm young and I do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But but if your grandson is around my age, let me know. But it's more so that I don't really see too many, patients who are African American or Hispanic or minority. And so, but even when I do, I've yet to be met with racism here. And surprisingly, when I did my rotation, I did my last clinical rotation in West Virginia. And I remember I had to move to Pittsburgh, and I would commute to West Virginia for 3 months. And I remember telling my clinical instructors, like, because they had to place me, because either they would place me in West Virginia or I would have to sit out a semester. And I was like, I'm not sitting out a semester. I'm done. So, and I remember just telling them, look, just don't send me anywhere that is, racially charged. Like they don't, you could tell that someplace that they don't welcome African Americans, or I'm the only Black person and they're looking at me, sideways. And where they placed me, West Virginia. We're in West Virginia, in the Bible Belt. So, and when I got there, I remember I was petrified because as soon as I walked into the hospital, I didn't even see a Black person. And when I got to the group that I was working with, they were the patients and the people were some of the nicest people I ever met. And I thought they would be like, well, I don't want this Black girl touching me. And they were so open and honest with me and very welcoming and very warm, like all of the patients. And I was like, wow. I said, this is really a game changer for me, And then you get patients from time to time that really will use your race or their age or your age to, get to say they're not getting what they need out of you. Oh, this is because she don't know what she don't. She just graduated. Like you might hear it every now and then, but for the most part, my experience has been positive. I will say that.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't hear y'all. Now I can hear you. Yes.
Run that back, Monie. Tell her again.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's beautiful that so far in your career that you haven't had a negative experience. So that you had that experience in your life being so positive. Like that's
right.
A good thing,
I do. It does help to be able to come into an environment that you work in and know that you're accepted there, but you don't feel like someone's looking at you like you're unqualified, and you don't have to be on defense mode or have that demeanor of you like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Like sometimes I can tell my patients, I'm not sure about that. Let me consult with someone who has more expertise than me. And I'm confident enough to say that. And they appreciate you being able to say, I don't know. Like I've only been in in the role as a provider for 2 years. Like I still have a lot to learn. And I tell them that all the time, like, I'm not sure about this. I think my younger patients, I think they're more happy to see someone that looks like them, because I'm the midwife that, I wear Yeezys and figs and they're like, and gold hoop earrings. And, so they're like, they feel more relaxed talking to someone like me versus, the big white coat and just feeling very professional. They're able to tell me, look, girl, I don't know who my baby daddy is. Like, I need help. And like, they're more open to tell you their truth. I've had two situations where a doctor would go in and talk to my patient and they'll tell them everything is fine, everything is cool. And I'll go in the room and sit down and talk to them. And they're telling me they're being abused and, they don't have anywhere to stay. They're homeless. And I'm like, why didn't you tell this person that just walked out of here? And it's a comfort level. When you see someone that looks like you automatically gravitate to feeling safe, And so it works to me in my favor only because of the population that I'm working with. I'm not sure if I go somewhere else if it'll be the same, but my hope is that it would. And if not, I would hope that I could at least change it.
I love that too. That you kind of become like a big sister or a mentor to the patients who come into the office and speak with you, and that you make them feel comfortable, or that you help them to feel comfortable, as well as the point that you said earlier with sharing the expertise with them, because that's why you go to school, not just to be selfish and keep it to yourself and like think of yourself as a know-it-all, but to help us to understand our own journeys of whatever we're going through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate all that you're doing. It's really beautiful to hear just a take of your professional life. And our last question for you is more of a personal touch, because you're Trisha with the Yeezys and the gold boots down to earth and from New York or whatever. And you're still young and beautiful. You want to live a vibrant life. How does it come into play when you have to balance all that stuff? You're a dog mom, you got all these things. You have friends, you have the social life, birthday parties to keep up with, like all that stuff. Like working 12-hour shifts. That's a lot.
Right. Yeah. Some days I wonder myself, like, how am I getting this? But I am, I'm very big on self-care. And, once I turned 33, like, I remember telling you this, like, my motto for the year was soft life, and anything that brings me any bit of stress has to go. And I'm very good about balance. And I know when it's time for me to sit out, check out, and just kind of, do my own thing, and I know when it's time to grind. And so what I really do a lot of is mapping out time segments for myself. I vacation when I can, which is usually at least twice a year, And then when I'm home, I try not to overstimulate myself. Like I'm not on Instagram, or I don't turn the TV on, I don't turn the music on, and kind of just sit with my thoughts. That's like a free vacation for me. And just kind of just chill. Like I go outside, I hang out with my dog. He runs my life. But then, and then when I'm recharged, I'm back at it again, like birthday parties and, planning someone's, other parties or anything like that. We're just always present for each other. But I always say when I walk out of the hospital, work is done. I don't bring work home with me. I don't chart at home. Like those are like my boundaries for me. Like I don't call patients from my personal number unless it's an emergency. And it's very rare. Like I have a good team that we're able to kind of bounce off of each other. If I'm sick, I don't come to work sick. I PTO means prepare the others. And I strongly believe in it. And so I will say that my job is probably the least stressful thing in my life. I will say that.
Wow, you don't hear that too often about work not being the most stressful thing that you have in your life. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also show like how much you love what you do and how it's all encompassing and being a part of, your everyday life. Like you have like this routine that it works for you,
Right.
as far as like being able to balance, make time for yourself, when work is over, work is over. When I'm here, I'm here, I'm focused, I'm present, like I'm here for my patients, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that you're
Yeah.
able to create that balance and that boundary for yourself, even with all the hours that you do work.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for people to work in a regular 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. Like I just, you have to put yourself first. Like 'cause I always say at the end of the day, if you drop dead, they're gonna post your job on Indeed the next day. The
Yeah.
next day, the show always goes on.
Yeah.
So like people, who say they don't never take a day off from work or they leave their job with all these hours of vacation. No, vacation is for you to use right now. Like use it now. Like you are no good if you come to work tired, exhausted, and just mentally checked out where you can't do your job anymore. You can't pour from an empty cup. Like it's
Yeah.
impossible. And so if I got 5 good days off, chances I'm gonna figure out to go somewhere with them 5 days.
Yeah.
Right. I'm
And if
doing
I
something.
can't, I'm doing something. And if I can't do that, I'm going to the pool or I'm hanging out at home. I'm watching movies. But whatever it is, that time is protected just for me.
I love
And
that.
so, and you have to let's put yourself first, always in everything that you do.
Yeah. From your response, what I heard was you value yourself. You know what you bring to the table. So when I'm here, I'm giving you all that I have. But when I check out, and you have a team as
Yeah.
well. Like with you changing the acronym of PTO, preparing the others. It's not just about me. You know how to delegate, which is a strength. Because I struggle with that
Right.
delegation. I want to do everything. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
but I can do it, but I can't. So
Yeah.
if I'm sick, my body's telling me to sit that out and let somebody
Yeah.
else do it because they went to school too.
Right.
They can do it. They've been
Yeah.
hired for a reason as well. We have to balance. Everything that you said is true. Like if we
Yeah.
leave, if whatever happens, the show is going to continue. So the show
Yeah.
can continue while I go party in Jamaica. The show can
Mhm.
continue while I sit on my couch and relax. You know, and
Absolutely.
you know how to have that balance and turn off your work phone. And live your
Yeah.
life.
I think that there is strength in being a team player. And when you're a team player, your teammates can vouch for you and they can say, I could be like, girl, I need a break. You cover my schedule for me. I'm gonna go to Jamaica. And she'd be like, girl, yeah, I got you. Because when it's my turn, I'm gonna do the same for you. You know what I mean? And sometimes we just need a break. Sometimes you just need some grace, someone to help you out. And the other day I wasn't feeling well at work. My coworker was like, "All right, I'll take your last 4 patients. Go home." You know, and people will only do stuff like that for you if you've proven that you're able to help others when they're in need too. You
Yeah.
know. And so there's a lot of strength in being a team player and sometimes picking up the extra slack because someone's going to need to help you out one day. And so that's what I love about, the people I work with, that we're all human. They have kids, we have husbands, we have jobs, we have other jobs and, things like that. And sometimes you got to call out and it's the whole thing can't crumble when one person, falls off the line. So we all kind of help each other out and it's fine. And, no one's ever looking at you sideways like, if she take another day off, and so I love that. But you have to be a team player because if not, someone's going to look at you sideways and then that's your job on the line. So prepare the others. I'm out of here.
That's the episode name.
Prepare the others. There's only one you. There's only one you. And so when you feel like you're getting to that point where you're burning out, you have to stop and reevaluate and say, I think I need a break. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to use your vacation time. That's why you have it. Like people like to hoard vacation. I'm gonna go to Jamaica on Tuesday.
Well, how you going over that? You don't want to use that? Can you give me?
I'll take it.
Right.
Give me that day right there. I'm not
Some of them hours
Yes.
taking off.
Yeah, like people that work like that, I think it's dangerous. It's dangerous to work nonstop with no breaks in between. You have to have joy. Like you can't do your job like that without joy. It's not possible. If you're waking up every morning and you don't love what you do, you need to reevaluate what you do.
Come on, preach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, girl, we loved having you here in the cab,
I love it.
whatnot, dropping gems, giving information that we needed to hear.
Yes.
But before we let you go, you gotta let the people know where they can find you.
They can find me at Grady Memorial
I knew she was
Hospital.
gonna say that.
And you just have to ask for Trisha Roberts from Morehouse School of Medicine, and I will be at your service. That's it. That's the only place I'm at for now. That's it.
We appreciate you. We love you. And until next time, darling.
Yes. Until homecoming, darling.
Right.
Thank you for having me. Like I'm so happy I made it to the true carpet. I'm like, now that all the nerves are gone, I'm like, girl, we can do this every week. What y'all want to talk about? I got a story to tell, honey. You already know.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? In today's dorm story segment, Yaya and I will be discussing some experiences we've had with going into the doctor's office, whether with the doctor, whether with the nurse, and whether it's a funny story, a sad story, something that made us angry. I don't know. We're gonna find out, because we don't know what either one of us is gonna talk about.
Right.
Ma'am, would you like to go first?
Yes. So I have two on my brain right now.
Okay.
The first one is my first gynecologist that I had. She was an older woman. Like she would walk really slow to come in, and meet with me. And then, oh, this is coming to my head while I'm talking, but I want to talk about her a little bit. So I went to her when I was the first time. I think I was 17, and then like a couple of years went by, and now I'm in my early 20s when I went to her again. And at this time in my life, I wasn't sexually like active. I wasn't dating anybody, like nothing like that. And she's, going through the questions of everything, and she's like, so what's your sex life? And then I respond, my husband, boyfriend? She's like, you're not having no sex? It's like an old lady. I don't know how old she is. You're not having no sex? No boyfriend? Oh, you're so young, you're so pretty. You need to go out and do stuff or whatever. So then we went through the examination and everything. And then at the end of the exam, she let me know that, well, since I'm not planning to have any babies right now, she's getting old. So I should just think about going on to find another doctor because it's staying with her, and I wasn't pregnant at that time or planning to be, so it would be good for me to move on to another doctor because she will be retiring soon. So it was funny in the moment, like her response was like, dang girl, again, you ain't out here getting, you ain't got no man. Like, you just wasting your beauty right now, kind of. So let me not waste your time. You just go find another younger doctor. So I did. I took her advice, called my insurance company, find out, what doctors take my insurance, and I was referred to a doctor. I forget the name of the doctor, but the way that the name was sound feminine to me. So I want a woman doctor because I feel like, yes, it's all about. Sorry, y'all. It's all about education and what you know and everything like that. But the only man that I would want looking at me is my man, not like another man, like a strange, quote unquote stranger man, looking at me. So I chose to have a female doctor or whatever. And then when I called, I said, "This is a woman doctor," and the person on the phone said yes. When I went to my appointment, I'm sitting there with a little blanky thing or paper, whatever they give you, on my lap. And then the person came in talking, like the nurse or whoever, like the student, whoever it was. She said, he'll be with you, sure. I said, who? And she was like, I was like, never mind. Because I felt Now I felt embarrassed that I said who, like I responded like that. And now I know I have a right to say I don't want to be a doctor and put my clothes back on, but I felt like embarrassed that I kind of was maybe embarrassed to somebody else. But it was a man doctor, and I was like, what the heck was I judged by the name? And I'm sure that person, the receptionist, probably wasn't even listening to me when I asked. Obviously, if it was a man or woman, because he just said, and then just got off the phone. So, but I left after maybe like 2 years. So I felt comfortable. I'm like, I've already heard this person. It's just like when you go get a wax, like you don't want to keep having so many people.
Right. I want to go to the
wax.
same person.
Right. But now I go to a OBGYN gyno who's a black woman. But they have other women and they're minority too. Some people are of a different culture as well, but I feel more comfortable with having a woman look at me and touch me. And two, like I said, the education matters. I think the experience matters too, because I'm not sure if I tell a man I've been having cramps down there, if he knows what I mean, or like I'm having discharge, like you know what it looks in the textbook or what people say it feels like, but for somebody to actually know what it feels like, or even the embarrassment of it, saying, I'm saying like how Nurse Trisha was just sharing her experience of how it feels to be the person giving the exam, and then when the table turns, and she's saying the same thing that her patient says. So for me, I would rather talk to Nurse Trisha than Nurse Bobby, because when it comes to my women part, it makes me feel more comfortable talking about that. So those are my stories that come to mind when I thought about this topic.
The first one that comes to mind for me is when I was in the process of moving. So since I had been at home, I already had a routine of like the doctors I was seeing, the medication I was receiving, from the gynecologist to dermatologist, like everything was set. And when I moved, I can't use my California insurance out here. I had to wait until I started my job, and when my insurance hit, then I had to find the doctor. So, like going through the process of having to find like a black female as my primary doctor, like that was very important to me. So I'm trying to research, like, can I find a picture of this doctor? Like, like when I call,
can I hear
like,
your voice?
When I call, like, I'm asking, like, I want it to be, yes, I want it to be female. I prefer to be an African American. I did the same thing when I was looking for a therapist too. I was very adamant about I want her to be a woman and I want her to be black. Also because that's just what I was used to and what I felt comfortable with, and I really love that representation when I walk into the room or when they walk into the room to meet me. But the experience that I had when I finally got my insurance set and I went to my primary doctor, because I couldn't get certain things without a recommendation, so like I had to get a primary doctor for certain things. So when I met her, yes, she was black, she was a woman, but I did not like her image. And like the fact that she was a representation of, black women in the culture.
She turned you on.
She really did. And I didn't like that. And I was like, I went like to go through all of what I went through for a few months just to make sure I got someone that I wanted. I didn't want her specifically. So I'm like, now I gotta go through this process of trying to find another doctor because I don't like his attitude towards me, because of course, yes, as a doctor, you know more than me, but I know my body better than you do. And I know the medications that I had in California. Yes, the process may be different here in New York, but instead of trying to argue me down while I'm trying to explain to you the medications and things that I had before, like I'm letting you know, like I can have that paperwork sent over, blah, 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 before I came, nobody told me to bring anything. So why are you trying to argue me down as far as like the information that I should have brought with me and how you can't know certain, like I understand that. And I can make sure I can have that sent over. But as I'm speaking to you now, I know what it is, and I can give you a specific on what I had, which is why I'm here to see you, so that I can get the recommendations for the specialists that I need, being a gynecologist and a dermatologist for the medication therapy. So I just didn't have a very good experience, especially being like the first time that I'm meeting you. I understand that you have a busy day, you have other patients that you need to see, being that it's your first time meeting me. And me wanting to trust you as my primary, that should just been a different type of experience. So the fact that she was a black woman didn't even matter at that point. It was like, I'll take anybody else at this point because I don't like your energy. I don't speak to me. She could have been having a bad day that day, but she was very argumentative. She was very argumentative with me about like the process, how I was explaining the process of things, like how I did them in California and how I'm unfamiliar with certain things now in New York. And she just made it seem as if I should just know those things already. And I was just like,
no, you know them.
You're a doctor.
I'm paying you for these 20 minutes.
I had to pay $25 copay for you to fuss at me. So I was like, no, and still need to find another primary, but still just it wasn't the experience that I expected it to be. I've never had that type of experience with a doctor. As far as like it was a weird, really weird back and forth for me trying to explain what I needed and why and how immediate it was, because I hadn't had a doctor in a while, and because I had to go to get a primary to get to the specialist because I had certain prescriptions that I needed that I couldn't get anymore because insurance, blah, blah, blah. It was a very nerve-wracking experience, and I really hoped for it to have been better after going through the process of finding her in the first place.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's such a process, and I remember when I was arguing with a doctor that I still go to now. I was like, you know what, I'm over it. I can't take it anymore, and I was referred to a woman doctor, minority but not Black, and when I went there, everything was okay, but I just felt like it wasn't at home, so to speak. And then I didn't like that doctor's office only because of the availability. Because if I get sick, I feel sick today. I'm gonna go to the doctor tomorrow morning. And then I go to the doctor tomorrow morning and get cured, because when I called that doctor's office, they'd be like, okay, like you have to make an appointment. So it's like, well, she's not available until 6 weeks from now. 6 weeks, I'm gonna be okay by then. Right. I might be in the hospital by then. Yeah. So I didn't like that. So I went back to my doctor that I would argue with, because he would do the same thing. Like I'll say, oh, this is hurting. I think it's kidney stone. Oh, you don't got kidney stone because it will be this. Bro, I've had kidney stone before. And I'm the patient here. And if I'm telling you that you should test me for it, then you should do what you do, not argue me down. Like we were literally arguing in the office. But then I saw him, witnessed him arguing with someone else. So I'm like, okay, it's not me. Right. It's you. But the women who work in the office, they pick up on that. So every time I go, they have somebody else to see me. And so
at least they saw that. And
yeah.
Able to like switch you with someone else that you needed someone else
to work with me. Yeah. But I would say from this, just learning to listen to the energy, listen to yourself, what you want. We have those rights to choose who we want our providers to be. We're they're service providers, but we're the ones that's paying. So, but also don't be prejudiced. And prejudice is not just about like the race and everything too, but don't prejudge somebody just because they look young or they're not pretty. Sometimes people might have that too, or different things. But see if you connect with them, see if they're knowledgeable, see if they can help you. Just because that doctor might know something about your toenail, they might not know about your nostril. So,
I mean, that is true. It's just the
toenail of the nostril. Yep. Somebody might work well with me and my vagina, but not Monie and hers. It's not a one size fit all situation. So, yeah. Yeah, let us know what your criteria is. Do you have a criteria when you're picking out a professional service provider? So let's go down below. I would like to know. I want to know y'all. Yeah, I want to know what's important.
All right, that's dorm stories. Woo, baby. Y'all know what time it is. We are heading on over to the beauty room. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements.
I didn't know what dance to do.
I couldn't even get the full thing out. It was messing me up again.
But I love you.
I love you more. Anywho, yes, we have made it to the announcement segment. This is a really dope episode.
Really dope episode.
We're not gonna keep y'all waiting because y'all okay, well, what are the announcements?
Right. We always make things long. Simone just be so happy every time.
Right, and y'all just want to keep talking.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, speaking of talking, we want to thank our special guest for coming onto our podcast episode today. First up, Sweet 223, we had our friend, our family member, our love, Eric Simpson, to come here and not just bless us with a poem, but also share some really good gems regarding the poem he shared. I don't want to say it, just in case you scroll down to the announcement segment.
Trying to see what
Go
you
back,
win.
yes. Go back and listen to that segment. It was really good. I wasn't expecting what we got, and it's pushing me to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Not drop down and propose or nothing, but like just find out more information regarding the question that we asked that got him to do what he did during that time. And we also had our friend, our sister, nurse, midwife,
all
just
a wonderful person.
everything, loving person. Like, I love Trisha. She came and blessed us during our cast segment to talk about her professional life and all that she does to give back. And it's just amazing to speak with our friends and learn about them aside from the friendship that we have with them. So I thank them so much for stopping by.
All right, taking the
Our
time.
little old podcast, CAU alumni, both of them. It's amazing. So thank you both for stopping by, and make sure that you follow them. We're gonna put their information down below. So that you can check them out on social media and everything like that.
Absolutely. And y'all know every month we have a question for you to answer. You can win something and go shopping in the Love Loud shop. So for June, it is, what is your theme song for summer of 2022? We outside, like we really outside. Like we haven't been outside like this in 2 years outside. You know what I'm saying? So everybody and their mama outside. We're rolling outside. We're running outside. We dancing outside. Okay? And we were doing all of that outside. There has to be a theme song that you riding with, that you running with, that you working out with, that you vibing to all summer. It might be more than one, but you only gotta give us one to be entered to win a discount code and go and shop it in our Love Loud shop.
Yes. And going back to what I was talking about, our podcast. Yeah, if you love our podcast, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast, as well as share the content with other people who may be into podcasts or maybe into just watching YouTube videos. Just share the information, share our Instagram, and and just bless other people, because I use the word bless because we don't just get up here and just have gossip hour, but we actually have people who come on here and are really knowledgeable about the things that they do. And it's always hard to answer the question, who's your podcast about? Like, right. We got a lot of different topics. But do you talk about? No. Yes, we have. And yes, we have. It's just so many different things that we discuss on our podcast because there's just so much going on in the world. So, yeah, if you just like our vibe, our energy, just send the friends our way.
Yes, and we have a little something for everybody, and we hope that everybody has a little something for us.
Yes.
So if you know about any events, any open mics, any pop-ups, somewhere where we can vendor, somewhere where we can network, somewhere where we can eat, because we still haven't been invited to any cookouts, so we still wait for that invite. Feel me? Okay. So when we just chilling at the park, this is something we want to connect with y'all. We want to try to connect with us. We want to connect with other writers, other business owners.
Yes, I want to use my picnic basket.
That's what I'm saying. I want to use my picnic blanket, okay? Right? I still got a cooler backpack I need to buy to go with my little blanket so I can be out at the park and stuff and having a good time for the summer. So let us know what's going on. We're super excited about the different things that we're going to be doing. But if you know other things that we might not know about, we want you to let us know. We're excited.
Don't be shy.
Right? Remember, we outside. We outside. And there's going to be so many different things going on, from different types of events and festivals and pop-up shops and vending opportunities and open mics and everything. Because at some point we're gonna have some events of our own that we're gonna start inviting y'all to as well. So keep an ear out, keep an eye out, and
not an eye out, it's an eye open.
Keep your eye out, your ears open, your eyes, whatever. Either way, if you see something, let us know. You hear about something, let us know. We will be more than grateful for the information.
Yes. thank you so much for coming on and watching us on YouTube. We love y'all. Stay black.
Stay proud.